All right, this might be a little dark right now, but I'm about to get into the sunlight, so I have my camera set for that. When I get out of this park and I get to some more sunlight, then we'll see if we need to change my ISO. Here comes the first turn. Yep, it's super bright now. Okay, we're gonna work with that. Okay, so right now I'm using my favorite setup for car mounts. It is the rig wheel 100 on the windshield with a sponge below the camera to help, you know, prevent micro vibrations. I haven't found anything that works better for me, at least for in the car shots. So this is what I'm sticking with. I'm also thinking about giving away my DELKIN Fat GECKO all 3 suction cup mounts, because I just, with my rig wheels, I just don't need the DELKIN setup anymore. And I'll go over what the advantages and disadvantages are of each setup. So I guess there is an advantage of using the DELKIN, because you don't have to put anything on the other side of like a window. So that's an advantage. But that's the only advantage. The other disadvantages are that suction cups have a little give to them, so they're more likely to vibrate and alter your footage, you know. And you want the most stable footage possible. You want your camera to move while your vehicle moves. And with a suction cup, no matter how good the suction cup is, at least in my experience, you just can't get rid of all vibration. They have give to them. But with these magnets, not only is it a more solid connection, if they were to slip somehow, a suction cup, if it slips, it's just gonna fail, it's gonna fall off. It's not gonna reconnect. It's not gonna automatically apply suction again to the surface. It just doesn't happen like that. But with a magnet, if the magnets were to give and slip, chances are they're gonna reconnect and save your equipment, save your camera. It's just a much better setup than a suction cup. And the G51, it also uses suction cups, but the advantage of the G51 is that it's more versatile. You don't have to mount your camera like within inches of the surface. You can mount your camera, what, a good 18 inches away from the surface and get different angles that you cannot get with the DELKIN mounts or with the rig wheel mounts. Now, keep in mind, you can probably connect the rig wheel mounts to arms similar to the G51. I haven't looked into that, so you know, keep that's something you have to keep in mind. So anyway, I'm headed home to record the rest of this video, and hopefully I can get it posted by noon tomorrow. All right, later. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do before I get started is attach this so you can hear everything I'm saying. I learned this from another YouTuber. Basically, I was trying to figure out a way to mount the Rode Wireless Go without it being visible in all the shots, you know? And all he did was get a tank top and he put the Rode on that. So all you do is take this, clip it to your shirt, under your shirt, and aside from looking like you have some kind of weird pacemaker right here, you're all set. I am going to start with the Camtree G51. So let me move all of this a little bit out of the way. Okay, Camtree G51 comes in this handy little travel case. See, it's got this layer here, lots of parts. It has these large suction cups with these dust caps that they come with. You keep them in the dust caps while they are, or dust covers, I don't know what you call them. While it's in storage, you keep it in that. So you got 3 of these. And you also have just tons of other parts. You have, these are like security ropes so that when you're using the mount on the exterior of your vehicle, you reinforce it with this so that like if any of the suction cups were to give out, you don't lose your equipment because this holds it down. So you get 2 of them. Actually, when I was making the videos today, I realized that one of mine was too short to secure one of the mounts that I wanted to secure with. You can secure it on your wheel well of your vehicle. You can secure them with straps that I added under the hood of my vehicle. You can secure it with other parts in the back of your vehicle, and that's why I wanted a longer cable to be able to reach all the way to the back of my vehicle. Comes with a bunch of different ball joints and attachments. I'm gonna just pull some of these out of here and put some of this stuff together for you so you can see how it all goes together. Now this I'm gonna call the centerpiece, for lack of a better word. This is the part that everything else attaches to, and this is where your camera is mounted. Now in my video, I mounted my fluid head, tripod head on here so that I have more control over the angle and pan of my camera. Now you don't necessarily have to do that though. And in most cases, I typically recommend you mount your camera right on the mount. And you can do that. Give you a bag of different types of screws and attachments. You can do that with your standard camera mount. I'm going to use my M50 here as my subject, as my model. They have this bolt here for the larger mounts, and they have this bolt here for the smaller, and I already have the washer on it. You need the washer when you use the smaller one because the smaller one can go right through. See that? So what you want to do is use one of the washers, the included washers, run this through here, and then you can put your camera on the other side. And they also give you this wrench here for tightening. I'm not gonna tighten them much. Okay, so there's the basis of everything. Here you will attach, or to here you will attach these 3 ball joints. And notice some of the ball joints already have an attachment in them and some of them just have a hole. Right now you want to be looking at this. You'll see that here you have all of these different mounting holes, just lots of options all the way around, all the way around. You also have them inside. I'm just gonna throw these on in random places for now. So I'm gonna screw this on here like so. Do the same with the other 2. Now keep in mind, you have all of these little arms over here. These are like extension arms. They can be connected to one another. They can be connected at the ends of these ball joints, or they can be connected on, you know, each side of the ball joints. For right now, I'm gonna start with just the short ones. And you don't have to make all of these arms the same length. There are situations where, depending on how you're mounting this to your car, you'll want one of the legs to actually be shorter, even though you have the different joints to adjust. The way I feel is for any particular type of setup you want, the shorter the legs, the better. Because the longer the legs, the more you have to worry about weaknesses in, you know, the leg and the joints, and vibrations caused by the motion of the car. So on the other end of that, you will have one of these. Now these do need to be on the other end because they connect to these parts. So what you do is you loosen this, drop that in there, and tighten it. And these will lock into here, the suction cups like that. Okay, so let's take one of these, tighten that down, keep that in position. Okay, so now that's secure. Then you take this, we're gonna tighten it on here. Okay, so just imagine I have suction cups on all three legs. All right, so I'm gonna loosen this temporarily, and I'm going to put suction cup in place. So let's just say we have 2 suction cups over here, and we need to secure this way. Put the suction cup in position, press down, and then pull this down. That locks it into place. Then go ahead and lock these into the proper position. So everything's locked. You'd have 2 more suction cups on this side, locking things in place. The other things you have are these little support rings. And what these are for is screw them in on that same centerpiece here. And I'm just finding random places to put them for now. And then what you do to reinforce your mount, you take these little clasps here, these carabiners, and I'm gonna pull this all apart. So on one end, you will lock that in right there. Let's do the other end just for the fact that I don't have these other ends secure. Let's do it like this. Okay, then you take the other end and you either hook it to somewhere on your vehicle that is strong, that is sturdy, and can handle that hook, or you can connect it to this, which goes into your wheel well. So let's say my wheel is here, this is the top of where the fender is. You hook that right in like so. And when that's hooked in like so, you connect the other end here. There we go. Now, just for the sake of this video, I am going to just wrap this around itself. Okay, so once you have it secure, you pull it till it's tight. So like if these suction cups were to give out, these cables will hold your camera and your rig in place, preventing you from losing your camera on the road somewhere. All right, now when you want to release these, the only way to release them is to press this little lever here, and then it loosens. There we go. I'll say a few things about this. The advantage of this rig is the versatility and the types of angles you can get around, you know, and outside your vehicle. You can get low shots, you can get high shots, you can mount them on the top of your vehicle, top of your hood, on your windshields, on your, and it doesn't matter what the material is as long as it's a smooth, non-porous surface. It can be glass, it can be fiberglass, it can be plastic, and so on. It's a very, very flexible type of mount to use. These extension arms, you know, for the legs, or extension legs if you want to say that, make it to where you can change your orientation and your angle and your point of view into just all sorts of arrangements. The disadvantage is that it takes a while to put it together, you know, and I'm not complaining, because if you're actually planning a shootout, you should, you know, basically give yourself time to set up something like this. This is definitely a rig that I enjoy using. Most of the shots that I do, however, are inside the vehicle. So the other drawback of this is you can use it inside, Probably with just the short arms, but when you're working in limited space with a large rig like this, that's probably not ideal. That moves us on to the next thing. The next mount I'm gonna go over is the DELKIN Fat Gecko single suction cup mount. This is pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. You do have these little knobs here on this joint, little knob here to tighten this, and the suction cup and the lock. Basically place suction cup down, press down to push out the extra air, and then lock. That's it. Then, in fact, you know what, let me turn this a different angle, it'll be easier to see. Then you can adjust your angles and tighten each of these joints into the position that you want. Now, these can be used outside of the vehicle as well as inside. I personally don't typically use these outside because of that. You see, this is a porous surface though. If this was on glass or smooth metal, it wouldn't have given out like that. But basically, if you don't have a way to reinforce your suction cup, I probably wouldn't use it outside your vehicle. So this is the single. You can also use this like on glass or the windshield. And what I do is I use one of these with it. So if you want to mount the camera under the mount, add one of these to it. Let's say you mount it on the windshield, and then mount your camera from the hot shoe. Like so. Make sense? DELKIN also makes the Fat Gecko dual suction cup mount, which is essentially the same thing with 2 cups. You can also buy the 3 suction cup or this little adapter here to add the single to the dual to make a triple cup. All right, so show you how that is connected. If I were to connect this like this, okay. So now you have a triple cup suction. A triple suction cup mount. I'll loosen this, and let's say we wanted to mount it like this. Tighten all your parts. There you have it. And you can do the same thing as I said before. Mount your camera here, or if you were to put this up on glass somehow, you can add this part and hang it from your hot shoe. Okay, so that's the DELKIN Fat Gecko. Now, the advantages of this would be over the G51 is that you have a much quicker setup. These are much easier. You just push them and that's it. You don't have to put together any parts. If you're using the triple, it's probably already assembled, so much quicker setup. It's smaller too, so it's easier to use inside a vehicle where you have limited space. The disadvantage is the same disadvantage, one of the same disadvantages that you'd have with that, being that it is based off a suction cup and suction cups can fail. So reinforce your suction cup mounts. That brings us to the next company, Rigwheel. And I do suggest you check them out. These are called Rigwheel Sport. Magnets made of rare earth metals, so they're very strong. I'm not gonna put them together because they are very difficult to pull apart. So I'm just gonna put them together like this. Basically, you can stick one of these on metal and mount your camera to that metal. If you're doing it in a car, like we are in this situation, you mount one on one side of the glass and the other one on the other side of the glass, and they hold very strongly. These smaller ones, I would not trust my larger cameras like my 6D Mark II or my 80D or larger with these. They probably would hold, but I'm not too confident in that. So what I did is I also got the Rigwheel Rig Mount 100s. These are the Rig Mount Sports, Rig Mount 100. See the difference in size? These are rated so that when these are stuck together, they can hold up to 35 pounds. These, on the other hand, can hold up to 100 pounds. The rig wheel setup is my favorite. Advantage of this is that it's fast. Compared to a suction cups, if they fail, they just fail, that's it. With these, if they were to give on either side of the glass or whatever, chances are they'll slide and reconnect because they're magnets. That's what magnets do. So that's a great plus. The other thing is, because suction cups are made of a softer material, there's always a higher chance of vibration while the vehicle is moving because the suction cups themselves move. With these magnets, however, once they are stuck together, in most cases, they're not moving at all. So this is what I prefer. Now, let's say I want to mount something on the outside of my vehicle on the metal. I only have 2 of these. So what I did is I took my 2 pairs of my rig mount sports and I connected them to a cheese plate. So I put them on like this. And then I'm able to stick this on the side of the car or top of the car or wherever you want. Then I take these parts from the G51, connect them here, and I can attach my support cords here. Lastly, you can mount the camera right on the cheese plate at any position that you want, or in my case, I often mount the fluid head somewhere right in the middle. That's it. Last thing I want to show you in reference to that is when using any of these setups, especially with lighter cameras like mirrorless cameras or action cameras, you can also use an articulating arm. So if you take this hot shoe mount attachment here, let's say you have on one end a rig wheel or the DELKIN mount on the glass. This gives you more flexibility in the angle of your mount. So that's something to think about. Sponges. I found that when I have something mounted on my windshield and it's just hanging down, even the best of mounts get some vibration from driving, especially if you're on a rough road. So what I did is I changed it from a 1-point mount to a 2-point mount by lowering the camera as much from the mount and then resting it on the dashboard. So you have 1 point, 2 point, it's a 2-point mount, less vibration. However, the problem is that my dashboard has a hump in it, it's curved, that's it by design. So when a camera is on my dashboard, only certain parts of the camera are touching the dashboard. I just picked up some of these sponges from Walmart, like $3 for a pack of 6. And I placed that under the camera and press it down as firmly as possible, lock the mount into position, no vibration. So get yourself some sponges and an articulating arm, and then any of these mounts. So other than that, if you'd like me to do something more thorough on any of these, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do later. Deuces.